Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. What we'll be covering today on this webinar is we want to first cover some of our success stories over the past couple months and specifically take a look at our sales growth and what has been contributing to that. We want to review some of our sales initiatives, the Caramel Bliss program, Icy, and the new butter. We're going to take a look at the rest of 2014 and beyond, specifically at Picante Lime coming out next week, Popping for Pink happening in October, a quick look at our new website, and then review some of our packaging initiatives and new flavors that are coming down the pipeline. Then we'll go over the much anticipated and probably why so many of you are on this webinar, the Dippin' Dots launch. And then we will go into the question and answers. Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know that with me I have Mr. Garth Ward. Yay!
Greetings, everyone. Excited about the call today.
And we have a fine gentleman, Steve Rothenstein from Dippin' Dots.
Hi, everyone. It's great to talk to you. Looking forward to working with everyone and looking forward to hearing more about Picante Lime.
So let's go into our sales growth. I want to just pull up a very quick sales chart. So this is a highlight from 2 weeks ago, and I just want to briefly show this is what is included in the kernels you need to know each week, and highlighting some of these locations that are just having just amazing growth over the past couple months. Most stores look to have anywhere from 5%, maybe 8% year to year. To have 2 stores that are doubling their sales is just phenomenal. What you're also seeing here is that stores are seeing an increase in their transactions, meaning more customers are coming to their locations, and average check across the system is also increasing significantly. Here we have a store that is up by $1.26, stores that are up by 80 cents and 78 cents. What a lot of this has been attributed to is the integration of Caramel Bliss into our locations. I'll be going into more details on that later. But a strong driver on the sales growth has also been adding in our new butter. Most of the locations have done that, but there are still a few locations out there who have not made the switch. I highly, highly recommend contacting Bob Lawrence to be able to make that switch as soon as possible. It's a proven initiative to help raise your sales, increase your transactions, and be more profitable.
What was the system-wide sales for the week before last?
23%.
23% over last year.
23%.
23.
23.
That's a pretty impressive number. What was it a year ago at this time?
Negative 20.
Holy crap, that's like a 43% increase.
Correct.
That's incredible.
I love this banter, by the way.
That's some good franchisees out there, I'd say. Hey, you can look at that on the flip side, and it's not lost on us. That negative 20 to what we are today is, some people will look at that as, well, we're a tall pygmy. Of course, we're better than we were last year. And some of that's not lost on us, and that's why we're continuing with ongoing initiatives, but we're not stopping the creative flow and the making sure that we're always testing new things and looking for new things to do. So that's the only way we're going to continue on that path.
All right, let's take a look at 2014 and beyond. First, I'd like to take a look at Caramel Bliss. We currently have 10 locations serving our Caramel Bliss product. We have 6 locations that have ordered the caramelizer and should be installing within the next couple of weeks. And we have 5 to 6 more that have committed to ordering one this week by our deadline for the early adopter program.
When's that deadline?
This Friday.
Is it Friday or is it tomorrow?
No, it's Friday.
Oh, I thought it was July 31st.
Oh, it is July 30th.
Holy crap.
Oh my goodness, it's tomorrow. I got mixed up on my days. Thank God.
Should we extend it 2 days?
Let's talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Let's see. So as everybody knows on this call, part of the early adopter program is that you can purchase the Caramelizer, and we've extended 3-month terms, and those payments can be made on a credit card, not necessarily on ACH. You can do ACH if you so choose. The reason I'm highlighting this is that the Caramelizer is a very strong direction that Dot Popcorn is going in. New flavors that we're working on in the R&D department are being focused on the Caramelizer. So if you are able to install the machine, I highly recommend everybody taking advantage of this great program that we have put together. I wanted to highlight some sales growth of some folks who have installed the Caramelizer in July. Alex Bowie is up by 72% year to year. Jed Howard is up by 84%. And Bob Anderson is up by 38%. Now these are in conjunction with the new butter and with the Caramelizer. The Caramelizer has really helped driving that average check. And I just want to highlight these gentlemen so folks can see what kind of benefits the Caramelizer can bring to your location. I would also like to have a word from my good friend, Mr. T. He would like to say something about the Caramel Bliss program. He says he pities the fool who doesn't get their bliss on. So that is made as a joke. We don't pity anybody.
I kind of do. Delicious stuff, and if you can't eat it regularly, pity you.
Some of our other sales initiatives, Icy and the new butter. Whoops, went too far. We've had, I think, almost 93% of the locations who can add Icy have added Icy. A round of applause to everybody who made that jump. And I have to give another shout out to Diana Bissett. She is our proprietor in Phoenix, Arizona. She was really a strong advocate of this program and did a lot of work with us here at PHQ to make that happen, and I have to give her some of the credit for that program. New butter, again, as I said earlier on in the webinar, a lot of locations have made the switch. For those of you that haven't, again, I highly recommend it. It is fantastic, great smelling, fantastic aroma that really helps drive those extra steps.
On the new butter note, I just wanted to comment on that. I've heard some people talking that my mall won't allow because I know it's going to smell too much, things like that. But maybe there's an approach that you can use it. I know Bill Bentz in his mall has taken the approach that he doesn't want to overwhelm his mall either. So he's popping the new butter with the triple white cheddar only. And I believe he plans on doing another flavor or two over time so that it slowly increases the smell and doesn't really create a lot of attention overnight with the mall tenants and neighbors.
One other detail on the new butter, we are working on another process to color it that's a liquid annatto. That is one of the top things on our list, and we hope to have that figured out very shortly, just as a FYI. Let's look at 2014 and beyond. Picante Lime update. Picante Lime will be available in the Pop Warehouse early next week, and we will have a very short launch guide for it that just gives the recipe. The Picante Lime is not considered a limited time offer flavor, so you are not required to sell Picante Lime if you don't want to. It is definitely a spicier mix that has a very nice, what's another, kind of a citrus aftertaste.
The lime does come out. It's a good combination.
In October, we will also be participating in the annual Popping for Pink program, like we have the previous weeks. We'll have a launch guide in the Pacific with that program coming out shortly.
A couple items on the Popping for Pink. We are actually trying to get a 10N with a pink ribbon on it. Not sure if we're going to be able to get that in time, but if not, we can make it available to purchase directly. I saw a few emails out late last week working on that. And also, one more crazy idea, was to actually have pink popcorn.
Whoa, pink popcorn.
Pink popcorn. The flavor is still being discussed, but we did discover a way to create pink popcorn. Actually, roundabout way, this kind of came from Diana Passette as well. She made a crazy idea about using beta-carotene for coloring, and beta-carotene does not turn it yellow. If you use too much, it turns it very red, but if you use just a little, you get pink.
We'll also be launching our new .popcorn website. I just wanted to quickly show the beta version of it. Hopefully my link works. Or not.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Woo. Amazing what technology does.
Hyperlink at work.
A few seconds to get this. So I don't want to spend too much time on the details on the website. I just wanted folks to get a quick glance at it and the direction we're moving in. One feature that I'm personally very excited about is the location section. It's no secret that on our current website, that when you type in a city or a state to find what .popcorn locations are there, it's not the most accurate. This is a very accurate one. So here I've just typed in Texas, and I'm going to scroll down. Whoops, there we go. And it pulls up everyone in Texas. Very exciting. Also a new and improved section that highlights all of our different flavors.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So if I hit sweet butter,
that's really kind of cool.
Bring up a description, brings up the nutritional information, and the different allergens. Again, we are working diligently on this website. We don't have an official launch date for it yet, but it is something that we are working on diligently. Garth, would you like to talk about new packaging?
You know, I'd love to. I really would. As most of you know, there's been a lot of talk about some alternative packaging and some different things. We actually have a couple locations testing plastic bags, and to date, those have been very successful, despite not having a real design on it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to improve the look and continue that success story. We've also recently tested a non-traditional cart location with the packaging, and the results have been simply incredible. In fact, to do the sales this location is doing by fresh scooping every package would literally be impossible. He's had an hour of sales over $600. I think he even had one hour that was $900 in 1 hour. That's because he's able to pre-package and present and show the products and fresh popping at the same time. So it's been wildly successful. So next week we actually have a couple of meetings on the future of our packaging. So some big changes in that area, hopefully by the holiday season.
Exciting news.
It really is.
What about new flavors?
New flavors, well, picante lime, that's new, isn't it?
That's new.
That's new. Picante flavor, or picante lime is the next flavor coming out. We're also working on the perfect flavor for the popping for pink, whether it be just our kettle corn or our better butter. We haven't decided yet. But there's also been some ideas of doing something, cherry flavor, something strange like that. Also, for the holidays, we are working diligently on a chocolate flavor of some form. Not sure we're going to be able to perfect that in that short of a window. But one of the things that we are also doing in the chasing the endeavor of new flavors is we're creating a production facility here in Colorado that will allow us to do some very, very expanded R&D and have a little more rapid response in that area in creating flavors and doing new things.
Very exciting.
In other words, more toys for Rob Flanagan to play with.
And break. Oh, I should have had that picture.
I should have had that picture.
All right. Well, let's get into the Dippin' Dots launch. So, as everybody probably knows on this webinar, Dot Popcorn has merged with Dippin' Dots. It's been an incredibly exciting past couple weeks, if not, gosh, we're going on 6 weeks now, 8 weeks, 2 months. Have to give a shout out to Steve Rothenstein. He's been a great contact for us over at the Dippin' Dots. Been incredibly available to the franchise community and to us here at...
I would like to correct that. That is Steve Rothenstein, not Stein.
Oh, goodness. And I just got fired.
Vastly different regions.
So let's get into the details. We sent out the launch guide last Friday. I hope everybody has reviewed that. I'm going to go over some of the highlights of the information that we put into the launch guide, and then Steve will be available for answering questions in our question and answer period. So the Dippin' Dots business model is separated into two sections. One, they have 10 open territories that are defined by the Nielsen market analysis. Those open territories are listed in the launch guide, and any other area is the standard territory. So depending on where your location is, you may be in an open territory or in a standard territory. Within that territory, you can have a Dippin' Dots cart, you can have a Dippin' Dots tent, seen on the picture here, or you can also place a Dippin' Dots freezer really anywhere you can put a Dippin' Dots freezer. They have them in gas stations, they have them in convenience stores, and several other alternative venues like that. So how does this affect a Dot Popcorn proprietor? You have two options. The first is you have the opportunity to become a Dippin' Dots franchisee. What this means is that you would purchase a franchise agreement for $7,500 for 5 years. You'll be able to enjoy better margins on the Dippin' Dots product and the ability to expand outside your Dot Popcorn business. And you'll have full access to all branding and marketing materials. You must have a storage freezer in a storage area if you were to buy a Dippin' Dots franchise and install a freezer in your location. And I just want to highlight that the franchise availability is contingent on your location and the Dippin' Dots territory availability. You'll go through a discovery process with Dippin' Dots, very similar to what you went through with Dot Popcorn. Your second option is that you can purchase products from an existing Dippin' Dots franchisee. There are a few countertop freezer models available. The pictures and details on that is in your launch guide. Being able to do this is contingent on a lease clause, what your mall is okay with you selling or not selling, and health department regulations. And in this scenario, you may only sell prepackaged Dippin' Dots product. If you are selling Dippin' Dots through your Dot Popcorn location, the Dippin' Dots royalty, which is built into their product, is eliminated. They do have a ad fund that will maintain in their product, and then Dot Popcorn will collect its royalty on all sales through its location. And that's the outside the store. Outside the store, if you are a Dippin' Dots franchisee, you're set up just like any Dippin' Dots franchisee. The royalty and the ad fund is built into the product. All right, I had timed that to be exactly 20 minutes, and I was only 45 seconds over. Whew. Nice. Sharp. So we are now going to open this up for our question and answer period. Give me 2 seconds to get this set up.
While Rob is setting that up, this is Steve Rothenstein, by the way, from Dippin' Dots/Dot Popcorn now. Just a quick introduction for those of you who I haven't spoken with, and I've spoken to quite a few folks out there, quite a few proprietors. I've been in franchising for the better part of 20 years. I actually spent 4 of those years owning my own Cold Stone Creamery up in the Northeast. So I've been on both sides of this conference call, if you will. I've been an owner. I've been a manager. I've been a field rep guy. I've been a training manager. I've done all different kind of things in the restaurant industry. I've got a pretty good feel for where you've been, and I've got a vision, which I think Rob and Garth shared, where we need to go in order to continue the wonderful and fantastic success that you've shown so far. Quite frankly, I've been very impressed and very excited with the team, but mostly with the proprietors out there who are just making it happen now, have turned the corner, and we're seeing a lot of positive momentum in the system. And I'm excited about the caramelizer, or is it caramelizer or caramelizer?
Depends on where you're located in the country.
Tomato, tomato.
There you go.
Potato, potato.
Nobody says potato.
Nobody.
Rothstein, Rothstein. No.
Moving on to the question.
All right, we have quite a few questions. As always, we read all questions that are typed in, and let's go ahead and get started. How many stores are currently selling Caramel Bliss? We have 10 locations that are selling Caramel Bliss. These are in the notes previously. I want to say we have 6 that have ordered the caramelizer, and we have 5 that have verbally committed to ordering it this week. So within the next 6 weeks, we should have 20 locations selling Caramel Bliss. This is a very good question. As a new franchisee, what the heck is new butter? Very good question. Our new butter has a stronger aroma to it, and it does have some artificial ingredients in it that help create that aroma. Our local tin guy has the pink ribbon tins. That's correct, and we are working with the manufacturer of those tins to see if that's an option. The main focus for popping for pink will definitely be the pink popcorn. Why a plastic bag? That is a good question. Would you like to take that, Garth? Or?
I can only try, because you've been asking for it, you've been begging for it, now you're going to get it. That's the best reason I can say. A couple of reasons are, there's first and foremost is the freshness of our product. Our current paper bag does not hold it very fresh, and regardless of what you tell a customer, typically you get X% that have problems. A day or 2 days later, depending on your part of the country and what the humidity is like. So we want something that people can easily seal up, or it's obvious you twist it and keep it fresh. The other reason is the presentation of the product. Be able to see the product, make a statement about the product. So that's another thing that we've learned is kind of important, especially as we're getting into these new flavors and different types of popcorn. Also, the other question is, will they have an option, or is only plastic the future? That has yet to be vetted out. Given our volumes, more than likely we will pick one or two, and that will probably give the franchisee community the best pricing. So if I had to have a gut check on it right now, we'd probably go with one option, but that's not to say that the future doesn't hold the possibility of two options.
Good answer. Thank you. I like this. This is more of a comment than a question. Always a good idea to know your new boss's name. I'm just saying.
You got most of it right.
I think I just mispronounced. Will Dot Popcorn kiosks be fitted for Dippin' Dots freezers? The process we're utilizing moving forward for locations that are going to open in the future is first we have to determine what are the possibilities in your area. So first, are you in an open territory? Are you in a closed territory or a standard territory? If you are in a standard territory, is there already an existing franchisee there, or is there not? Once we determine those, and there is a possibility to have Dippin' Dots, then yes, we will design the kiosk to work with the best way possible for both brands.
Oh, Steve, can I just save money by buying my own freezer off Craigslist?
No. Here's one of the exciting things about Dippin' Dots and what makes us unique and special in a lot of areas. Our product has to be kept at minus 40 degrees below zero in order to maintain a free-flowing dot, if you will. Otherwise, you'll end up with a block or a brick of dots, and it's no longer special and not particularly appetizing. There have been times when actual Dippin' Dot freezers have shown up on Craigslist and purchased at your own peril. But the likelihood is that freezer, if it was actually a Dippin' Dots freezer, is more than 10 years old at this point. We've got the ability to ship freezers all around the United States. There is unfortunately, no company in the U.S. that actually makes this approved freezer, so we ship them in by the container load from Denmark, from a company called Elcold. We are actually free to let our franchisees and our proprietors order direct from them as long as you're willing to take an entire container of freezers. So let me know. You do get good pricing if you buy several hundred at one time.
Is that a 20-foot container or 40-foot container?
It'd be a 40-foot ocean container.
Okay.
It's a lot of freezers.
It's a lot of freezers.
When can we expect to get our caramelizer? For the proprietor that just wrote that in, I just made a note, and I will follow up with Mr. Bob Lawrence to see if there is a tracking number or if we can get an estimate out to you on that. If we just want to sell prepackaged Dippin' Dots, do we have to purchase a Dippin' Dots franchise?
No, you don't actually. Even if you do not have a Dippin' Dots franchisee close to you that'll handle your needs, we have a program at Dippin' Dots called Dippin' Dots Direct, where we will give you the freezer. We will ship you quantities of product in quantities of 4 cases or 4 cases of 24 per, and we will charge you a rate that is both good for Dippin' Dots and good for you to maintain some level of profit margin. You will need to take more product if you're ordering direct from us because you do have to order in 4-case minimums, where if you're working with the franchisee directly and you are on their route, you can possibly buy as small as 1 or 2 cases at a time. So there's definite advantages on both, but please, all you need to do is let us know and we will get dots to you. I think we had one proprietor contact us on a Monday, and by Wednesday she had a freezer and was selling ice cream and had a pretty good weekend, if I recall.
A very good weekend. How do we find out if there's a Dippin' Dots franchisee in our area? I think a lot of people will be excited by this answer. Typically, I say create a resolution ticket. Woo! But in this scenario, you just need to email me directly, and I will work with, what's your name again?
Deanna.
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 Oh, I was going to say work with you.
No, work with Deanna.
I will work with Dippin' Dots to see what the information is. As most of you can probably tell, for all of our locations, a lot of these are going to be on a one-by-one scenario. We're going to work incredibly hard and diligently to make this integration happen. But there's no one answer that works for each location.
And just to couple with that, I believe our second location, Doc Popcorn Proprietor, will have Dippin' Dots hopefully by this Friday, ready to go this weekend.
Great news.
We should have the second one online this weekend, so we're pretty excited about that opportunity.
Are we going to have the ability to purchase the new Caramel Bliss already popped to resell? Another great question. That is part of our strategy. It's contingent upon creating our production and R&D facility to be able to create prepackaged Caramel Bliss and then be able to ship that out. In terms of a timeline on that, it's really contingent on when we're able to get that facility, and once we have that in place, we can have a more specific strategic plan that we can share with the system. What are the artificial ingredients in the new butter? Do we have new updated nutritional information on our popcorn that we can share with our customers when we switch to the new butter?
I believe it's chock full of sodium pentothal. No, that's not it. There are some, the one that comes to mind I cannot pronounce, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not even going to try. Outside of that, it's some trace materials. The good news is that it's real butter, so we can now call it real butter because that is the basis for what it's made out of. But I can look that information up and get you some more data on that.
As to the nutritional information, our vendor who does that work for us is working on information on all products that use the new butter and the other outstanding changes in some of our recipes. Once those are all available, we will get that out to the system as quickly as possible. I call him every Monday and I call him every Friday, and doing everything we can to get that information done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I just want to note something on that. Despite one being, butter and not butter, or however you want to define it, surprisingly enough, 90% of all these different concentrate butters are a base oil. And that last 10% is what really, there's sometimes 5%, is what makes them their flavor, or what their real basis is. And apparently being 5 or 10%, that's the expensive stuff we're paying for.
As a work in progress franchisee, they're referencing that they're in the construction process, planning to open in the next 6 weeks to 2 months.
Cherish these moments.
If there is a Dippin' Dots already in the mall, how can I incorporate Dippin' Dots in my kiosk? We reviewed this in the Dippin' Dots launch guide, and I want to be very specific on this answer. In that scenario, it is up to that Dippin' Dots franchisee whether or not they're comfortable having another location sell Dippin' Dots in their location. Please do not contact them directly. Contact me. I will work with Dippin' Dots, and they will contact their franchisee to see what their comfort level is. But it is 100% their decision in this scenario. Do you think it's weird to have a popcorn company branded store kiosk and then have a freezer selling ice cream? How do you plan to integrate the brands visually?
So that's a phenomenal question, and one of the reasons why I traveled out to Boulder today is to talk to Bob Lawrence, as we are building what we're calling tentatively a Dippin' Dots treatery in Paducah, Kentucky. We've got a corporate store, and we've got several brands in there. One that we own, one that we will own, probably, and Fuzzy Wiggs Candy Factory, who we're partnering with for many years. we're putting in a Doc Popcorn into that location, and that's what we've been working on. Once we physically get it all put into place, we're then going to take a step back. We're going to understand how the different concepts relate to one another, and then we will come up with the best possible product that is a reasonable cost of entry for franchisees. Short term, one of the things that we've spent a lot of time on in the last 2.5 years at Dippin' Dots is adding Dippin' Dots freezers into other brands where we can, other concepts where we can, not only in the convenience store, drug chain, but also family entertainment centers, small water parks, community pools, those kind of things. And what we've seen is the response that the product is available, and they haven't seen it since they went to the ballpark or they went to Six Flags or what have you. The response is so overwhelming, they're just happy to see it. I think we could probably get a picture out in the very near future of that one location that started up last week, so you can see how it looks. It's right now very minimal signage with what I would call maximal results, if you'll allow me to use the word maximal.
Is that a bad word?
I don't know if it exists. I may have just made it up.
The next one is more of a comment. It just says yay. I'm not sure what it's yaying is referencing, but it's positive.
Most certainly it's something that I said.
Without a doubt. I agree with that 100%. Have existing Dippin' Dot franchisees been offered a Dot Popcorn franchise? And if so, are they offered the same 50% discount that we are being offered to buy a Dippin' Dots franchise?
The answer is we are currently working on relaunching the Federal Disclosure Document, the FDD.
Sure.
Thank you. It's been a long day, as you know. We're working on the Franchise Disclosure Document.
Steve's old enough to know that it's actually called the UFOC.
It's the UFOC. But we are working on rebranding, relaunching that FDD with the purchase of the company. The move together of Dippin' Dots and Doc Popcorn is considered a material change. So right now we're in the process of launching that agreement. Once we do, there will be a part in there that allows for a 50% off on the franchise fee only for all existing Dippin' Dots franchisees, which is the same opportunity that everyone on this call has, assuming availability of territory and you meet the requirements. So the answer simply is yes. It's not available yet, but we are talking to several Dippin' Dots franchisees about the opportunity to become a proprietor as well. And there's some folks that are very excited about it and would rather not wait for a franchise agreement, but we're going to do this properly. We're going to respect the brand. We're going to respect Doc Popcorn and what's been built, and we're going to move forward at a pace that makes sense for all concerned, especially the franchisee and the proprietor if they become one.
Well said. You want to answer the rest of these?
No, I can, but then what would you do?
What is the long-term vision for Doc Popcorn and Dippin' Dots?
So long-term vision, I will respectfully say to be determined. I think we're going to do some testing. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the background. We're going to throw some things out there to see what happens, just like the freezer we placed on Wednesday of last week and the one that hopefully we placed this Friday. We're going to take on some of that burden in putting the brands together in the corporate location in Paducah. I think what we will see in the future is where we can put multiple things together under one entity, one franchisee/proprietor, we will, because I think it makes for a stronger offering. I think as a company we have a lot of opportunities to put together just the banks of knowledge. Kurt Jones, the founder of Dippin' Dots, is still very much involved today. He has pretty much frozen anything that can be frozen and continues to work and do a lot of exciting work in that area. He also has a lot of background in food just in general, and he's going to be helping on some of the R&D opportunities. So you may see some neat things come in the future. Who knows if it looks like a rainbow ice popcorn or perhaps a frozen popcorn, or perhaps the jalapeno flavored Dippin' Dot, if you will. So I think there's a lot of exciting opportunities. I think short term, We're going to do no harm. We're going to grow where we can grow and continue to help the systems do well.
The $7,500.
I wanted to add to that real quick. You know, one of the exciting things about our products is they're very complementary. You know, Dippin' Dots is fantastic in summer. No Secret Dot Popcorn kicks ass in the winter months, and so you know that's a great place to start from right there. That complementary seasonality of both products. And kind of what Steve says, where the future goes, we don't know, but we're ready to embrace it. We're going to chase some different things without hesitation to make sure we're prepared for whatever the future does hold.
The $7,500 franchise fee, is that a limited time offer? If it is, how long? We're thinking of testing the market first before investing the $7,500.
Very fair question. I encourage that. I encourage you to test and get comfort. What I could also tell you is we've been testing the market for 26 years now, and we may even have some data that can help you in your specific market where we've got that history, and we've got an amazing amount of our employees in Paducah that have been around for around 20 of those 26 years. So we've got a good wealth of knowledge. Specifically, that deal is good through the end of this franchise disclosure document, which sunsets February 28th this year. So you've got time to do it. But if you are thinking about testing it, be very open with us. Let us know, and we can help guide that process. One thing very important to note about Dippin' Dots and about how we run our development and our franchising team, we are the manufacturer of the product. That is where the bulk of our revenue comes from, is because we make this wonderful, fantastic ice cream in Paducah, Kentucky. The fee itself is more because legally we're required to collect a fee, and it has to be reasonable. And that's one of the things that the government says to us. So it's not so much the fee, but it's what the opportunity is. When you become a franchisee, you're paying a very small royalty, unless, of course, you're selling it within your Doc Popcorn kiosk location, but you are paying an even smaller percent on ad fund, which works out to be about 1/4 of 1% of your retail sale in the ad fund. But that gives you unlimited access to the materials that we've been creating and using for more than 20 years. And there are dozens of materials that we ship out for free to our franchisees because they pay into that ad fund. And there is no specific correlation for how much you contribute to how much you get to take out.
Do we get charged for the countertop freezer?
Almost always no. There may be an instance where there's a special opportunity for one party or the other where it may make sense for you to buy that freezer, and we've got some of those scenarios. But generally, when Dippin' Dots Direct or Dippin' Dots franchisee places those freezers, we do so because we're looking to sell ice cream. If it works, great. That is fantastic. If after a few months the sales are not there, no harm, no foul. We'll come pick up the freezer, and we move on to the next.
So if I become a Dippin' Dots franchisee, I don't have to buy the freezer, or?
That's a good question. No, when you're a franchisee, you are buying all the equipment, and you will then have the ability, depending on your agreement and your territory and what we discussed, to place your freezers elsewhere. So you will have that opportunity.
Got it. But if I'm not a Dippin' Dots franchisee and I'm getting set up either direct or with another Dippin' Dots franchisee, the freezer will be covered. Got it.
Correct. Another question just came up, and as I'm reading over Rob's shoulder, is, will Dippin' Dots work together on product development with Doc Popcorn? And the answer is absolutely yes. Not only is it Kurt Jones, who has frozen everything that you can possibly freeze, both on purpose and by accident, but we actually, as well at Dippin' Dots, have a research and development team. We've probably created 100 different flavors of Dippin' Dots you may never actually see, but we do create on a regular basis. So we have full access to them and those folks as well on the R&D side. So there'll be just a great working together, bringing in new ideas, different ideas. We have been, as an example at Dippin' Dots, we have been drizzling chocolate on things for the last 10 years. So we're pretty good at getting it to the right temperature, knowing how to drizzle it, and what's going to happen when you do that. So that's a good place for us to start. We've got some good resources and good contacts as well. So that's an excellent question. Thank you for that.
So this is a good comment. Please tell everyone that Rob Whitfield Flanagan's email address, so I don't keep getting emails attended for you. So there is a gentleman in the franchise system. His name is also Robert Flanagan.
I like that Robert Flanagan. He's a good guy.
My email address is r.flanagan@docpopcorn.com. I forget his. I think it's Robert.Flanagan, something like that. But if you haven't gotten a response from me, I am going to just say that perhaps you emailed the wrong Flanagan, and hopefully you didn't say anything too derogatory or special. Next question, will this be recorded for future reference? Yes, we are recording as we speak. Depending on how long it is, we convert it to a specific file and we will upload it to PopConnect. With the new production facility, is the plan for Dot Popcorn to get more into retail and focus less on the franchise model? What I would say there is our plan is to focus more on the retail, but we will never, ever focus less on the franchise model. It is another aspect of the business that will also benefit the franchise section, but franchising is where we started and where we will always be incredibly focused on.
Wait, how could retail possibly benefit franchisee?
Well, there's a couple different areas. One, for some of the locations who are not able to install a caramelizer, you would be able to take the retail product and sell it at your location. If you own a pop cart, you would be able to sell these prepackaged flavors. We can also create a lot of different flavors using different machineries that you could never install into an inline store or a kiosk. And you would be able to sell those type of flavors through a prepackaged option. I'm just doing all this off the top of my head. You can also potentially set up separate accounts. So, for example, you could go to your local convenience store or Kinko's or video store. I mean, the sky's the limit, and you would be able to sell the prepackaged product similar to the way Dippin' Dots handles their prepackaged.
Where would we find the knowledge of a system that does that?
Well, I got to think about that. I feel like it's staring me right in the face, and I just can't. Wait, Dippin' Dots does that exact same thing. So this is a slight segue, but this has always been part of the strategic plan, was creating this retail side of the business, but it was years and years down the road. With this merger with Dippin' Dots, we are now able to use their experience over 25 years, learn from their mistakes, use their existing systems to get that already launched. As most of the systems saw, I think in the kernels you need to know 2 weeks ago, Dippin' Dots FedEx rates are incredible. I mean, it is fantastic. And so the system should have already seen a drop in their shipping rates, and we'll be able to utilize those very, very advantageous shipping rates as we develop the retail.
And part of the reason that the shipping rates are so vastly improved is because of the retail. It does provide that brand identity out there, and it gets you country to country, coast to coast. So where fans of proprietors of the popcorn can't get their product today, this will allow them to buy their product. It is a different buying experience going through a mall, a kiosk, going through a special event as opposed to mail order, if you will. It is a different opportunity, and I think there's a great opportunity for everyone there. If for some reason you have not seen a benefit in your FedEx rates, please let us know, and we'll take a look at it, because we're pretty sure we should see only benefits from it.
Let's see here. Next one is, I like Dippin' Dots. That's a good comment.
I like it too.
Next question. We have not been receiving weekly invoices for our royalties as we were told would happen. When do you think we will be getting updated information about the charges that are accumulating somewhere out there over the rainbow? Will we have some advance notice before our accounts are hit so we can be sure the total needed is there? This is a very fair question. Just to give a little background, what's been happening is on the Dippin' Dot side and with Dot Popcorn is setting up the separate business entities and how those are to be structured before we can set up the specific ACH accounts. Absolutely, we will send out advance notice and we'll do everything we can to prepare the franchise system for when those deductions will happen and be prepared for them.
Just one addition. I mentioned Kurt Jones is still very much involved, founder and president of, or CEO of Dippin' Dots. Rob and Renee are also going to be very much involved. They have very specific roles, high-level management, branding, product development, integration, and we're going to continue to utilize some of their experiences that they've gained and gathered over the years. I will tell you, I'm excited about the opportunity to pick their brain, to get the kernels, if you will, to success that I think we need.
You're right in, brother. You're right in.
You're so cheesy. Well, I roll with the punches. But I also want everyone to know that we're excited about moving this thing forward in a manner that is responsible and gives us all the ability to take advantage of this exciting opportunity here. So stay tuned for the future excitement.
Let's see here. Do we see Dippin' Dots, Dot Popcorn, and Icy to work, or does it dilute the three brands by offering too much? I'm going to speak for everybody here in the room, as well as the decades and decades of experience over in Paducah, Kentucky. These three brands are very separate. They don't cannibalize each other. They can absolutely exist. Icy is this in addition to our beverage program, similar to the way Coke is. And Dippin' Dots and Dot Popcorn can absolutely exist as separate entities. Do you guys want to add any more to that? Or
I think that was a pretty good summary.
And I'll add one little piece, and actually I agree with it. There's definitely different buying opportunities for popcorn, for ice cream, for slush. I will tell you that one of the Dippin' Dots franchisees happens to also be a slush distributor, and he has been placing Dippin' Dots in his slush accounts and has seen absolutely no negative. It's been all bonus plus business. That's not to say that there may not be some trading, but if you trade from a slush and you trade up to a Dippin' Dots and you get that loyal customer, I think we're okay. I think we're all doing well.
Can you buy a used caramelizer? In that situation, email me or Bob Lawrence directly so we can just take a look at exactly what you're looking at. There are several models out there, and we want to make sure that it's a model that would work for you. But I'm definitely open to looking at the details and deciding from there. Do Dippin' Dots come in other packaging other than what was sent to sampling?
Yes. Dippin' Dots has the pre-pack. We love the pre-pack for a lot of reasons. One, it's the first thing that we started with many years ago when we left or moved from the bulk. We like the pre-pack because it allows for more product in a freezer. It stacks better. We have something that is relatively new to us, and it is a spoon and lid cup. Customer buys it, they rip off the top. There's a little spoon in there, so it's no mess, no muss, no fuss. It does cost about 10 cents more per unit to the franchisee or the proprietor if you go in that direction, and it is available. There are some venues where it makes a lot of sense. There's some where it doesn't make as much sense, but that is an opportunity. We've also got another product called Dot Monster Munch, which is a brand new product launch in line for Dippin' Dots, which is a series of 8 flavors, 4 geared for girls, 4 geared for boys. That is a scoopable, not scoopable, but is a hard scoop product that comes in a small cup that has fun and exciting names like polar bear poop, monkey mess, and a few other interesting things. Feel free to go to .monstermunch.com, I believe, and check it out. That's also available.
This is, I think, one of the best questions. Right? Would it be feasible for a pop cart to sell prepackaged Dippin' Dots? If yes, what would be the best option to transport Dippin' Dots between the main storage freezer and the countertop freezer being used at the cart?
Absolutely. The answer is yes, double yes, triple yes. I think that's an exciting opportunity. One thing that we are very good at, and Kurt Jones figured out 25 years ago, when him and his dad used to trade places and drive back and forth and bring ice cream to the account in the back of a pickup, is the use of dry ice. We actually, at Dippin' Dots, sell dry ice to our franchisees for 30 cents a pound, which is pretty remarkable if you compare it to what you get it in a supermarket. And in the summer months when we're shipping out a lot of products, very often the franchisees will add dry ice to their order because it is so effective getting it that way and using that to move product around. You can also find local suppliers and work a deal with them, and we can help you with that. And one of the things that we'll do, certainly if you become a Dippin' Dots franchisee, but we will also help guide you and give you all the information you need to make sure you're successful. We're pretty good at knowing how much dry ice to put in to ship for how long, and we'll be able to get all that information to you. But the key is dry ice.
Whom do we speak to regarding if Dippin' Dots is a viable product in our proposed locations market? For the specific person who just typed this in, you're in the opening process right now, so it will automatically be part of the conversation as we go through the real estate process to see what the options are available for you. If you are already opened, please contact me directly. Send me an email, again, to me, not the other Rob Flanagan in the system. And I will work with Dippin' Dots to see what the best option is for you. Dot Popcorn samples a lot of popcorn. Does Dippin' Dots do sampling as well as a way of introducing the product?
The answer is yes. We sample. We use it to generally introduce new flavors to folks. This year we've added a couple new flavors. One of them is actually pretty close to your guys' hearts. It's a kettle corn flavored ice cream. The other one was Rockin' Cherry, which is a cherry ice with basically a pop rock type inclusion. We serve them in little tiny cups. It's almost like a little shot of Dippin' Dots, and it seems to do pretty well. And the cost of goods is pretty good on that as well.
I had the kettle corn Dippin' Dots at the trade show. It was very good.
Have a excellent typed in. Again, I'm not sure what it's referencing, but I will take all excellent and yays. Who is the main contact when we have questions concerning regarding this transaction and how it'll be communicated going forward? You know, myself and Garth are the main contacts here. I would say for most questions, generate those towards me. And if it gets to be in a thing outside of our scope, I will get the appropriate parties involved. Like I said earlier, you know, each of these locations is kind of a one-on-one scenario, and I will definitely say Steve has made himself incredibly available directly to our franchise system. I've seen him emailing and taking phone calls at all crazy hours of the night. And we'll make sure we work out and get any answers to you that you need.
Yeah, I want to state that just hopefully answer some questions might be in the back of some other people's minds. Dot Popcorn is still very much its own entity. We are wholly owned by Dippin' Dots, but Steve and the management team over there at Dippin' Dots has made it very clear that we are our own business model, and we are to continue charging the hill doing what we're doing. So hopefully that brings some clarity to maybe some vagueness that might be out there.
When will the new website be launched? We don't have an official launch date yet. We're still working through the details on the website. It is a very large project where we have to make sure that everything is lined up and specific and correct. That ranges from making sure that the e-commerce side is working correctly, that all the flavor information is accurate, that all the locations are specific and exactly right. It is a top priority for us here, and as we can get a better idea of when that launch date is, we will make sure to let the system know. Can you walk us through the process of how we become a Dippin' Dots franchisee? Is it similar to Dot Popcorn, Discovery Day, training at headquarters, so local support? How do I start? What is the start to open time frame?
Fantastic question, and I'll put my sales development hat on. Certainly make your intentions known to the PHQ folks so that they're aware. We're open. We talk anyway on a regular basis, but it's very simple. One of the easiest ways to do it is you go on to dippindots.com and you fill out the request for consideration form. You will then get a phone call from the Dippin' Dots franchising office. It may be from a very lovely woman named Teresa Jarrett. She will walk you through some of the early steps, answer some basic questions. After that, if things look like they're going well and everyone's interested, you'll be set up to speak with one of our franchise development folks, most likely Vanessa Reeves, who's been with Dippin' Dots now for 19 years, and so she certainly is able to answer most questions. I usually go to her for questions, actually. After that, you'll have a webinar with Vanessa. After the webinar, if everything is going well and everyone's excited to move forward, your case, if you will be brought up to our Franchise Review Council, which is a coalition of a number of executives from across the Dippin' Dots world. Everyone gives their opinion, and if the decision is yes, this looks like a positive move, not only for the proprietor to become a franchisee, but also for Dippin' Dots, then we will invite you in for a discovery day. That discovery day is usually followed by training, if we all feel very comfortable about moving forward after the discovery day. So for example, you may have a discovery day on a Monday, and if everything goes well, and we're all excited about the opportunity, you may start training Tuesday. You may complete training Wednesday or Thursday, and if we've done our work properly, you potentially could be selling ice cream that weekend, especially if you come to training with a truck and you take a freezer and some ice cream home with you. And that has happened, by the way.
Can we still buy the old regular bags? The new packaging looks so small and almost similar to the tiny bags. So there's two answers to this. First part is no, the old regular bags are no longer in stock as far as I know. The new packaging looks so small, almost similar to the tiny bags. You know, the regular bag is actually, it's the same size. It just has more of a girth to it instead of the height, but it holds the same amount of product. The small bag, which was launched, gosh, that last year? It's all running together a little bit. But the small bag is smaller by, I think, a cup or two compared to the old small bag. As you can tell, this is kind of hard to explain over a conference call. If you have further questions, please just contact me directly, and happy to talk through it with you. Oh man, this guy is on the roll with great questions. So far, all the integration discussion with Dippin' Dots seems to be focused on stores and kiosks. What is a recommendation for those of us that operate Dot Popcorn carts at various locations? This is a great question.
So here's the exciting part with what Dippin' Dots does. Dippin' Dots does not require a franchisee to have a permanent location. We actually prefer our franchisees to start with what we call the Bedouin model, where we go where the business is, up and down the street business, fairs, festivals, and that that ilk. We are very good at getting into fair and festivals. We go to fair and festival shows where we've got their management coming to us and saying, how do we get your product into our event? We've got contacts all around the country, and I think we can really help increase that side of the business, work on making it a more profitable piece of business for you, using what we've been doing over the last, again, 25 years to make it make sense for you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy as sitting in a lawn chair and drinking a lemonade, but I do think that it is a good opportunity, and it's one of the things that drove me to what's available here at Doc Popcorn.
So if I'm a cart operator, if I wanted to have a Dippin' Dots cart, would I have to be a Dippin' Dots franchisee to do the cart?
You would have to be a Dippin' Dots franchisee to do a cart, anything outside of your Doc Popcorn location. Just to give you an idea, I'm sure somebody's thinking, well, how much is a cart going to cost? You can actually do an event, as you saw in the picture during the thing with the tent. You can be set up, the tent is, actually that's a very colorful tent. We've got a couple of different options. But you can be set up with the tent, a couple of freezers, and a banner, and you're good to sell for under $10,000. So you can get another cart, and we'll share with all the different options. But a standalone cart where you plug it in, it's got a hot water heater, it's got a little water tank, and you can get that for anywhere between $6,000 to $9,000. So a lot of opportunity. Cost of entry is pretty reasonable as well.
Another question is about Rob and Renee, their specific roles. So Rob Israel will be focused on very high-level management and product development, similar, I think Steve spoke to some of this earlier. Similar to how Kurt Jones is focused on different flavors, Rob Israel will be directly involved in that process. Renee will be focused on development and on the overall branding of the Dot Popcorn concept. If I'm looking for a location, who do I contact? Mark from Dot Popcorn or anyone else? What support is DD providing with select? So I guess that's what support is Dippin' Dots providing with site selection. The DP and the DD get kind of hard to see sometimes. If you're looking for a location, who do I contact? Correct, Mark Prendergast is our Director of Real Estate. He is working diligently here in the office. He's not out eating cheeseburgers. He is in the office early in the morning so he can work with folks on the East Coast and staying here late, but he is your main contact. In terms of support that Dippin' Dots is providing with site selection, now this goes to what Garth had said earlier. Dot Popcorn is working as its own entity with our real estate selection. I mean, we will be constantly working with Dippin' Dots to get their expertise and their advice. But if you are in the real estate process, you are working with Mark.
Oddly enough, Mark did do real estate for companies that sell cheeseburgers.
Oh, did he really? Oh, good point. When will Picante Lime be available to order? It's not there now. It is currently hidden. As soon as it is in the warehouse, Pop Warehouse, I'm hearing that's on Monday. Don't hold me to that because things have come up where it might end up being Tuesday or Wednesday. But I have been assured that early next week it will be available on the 3D cart site. If it will help, so you're not just going to the 3D cart site, every day waiting to see where it's there. As soon as it's available, we will also put it on the blog, and I will send out an email to the system letting everybody know that it's available. What contributed to the decrease in sales last year for week-to-week sales, referencing to the 23% increase this year?
Well, I think there's a few things. One was the change in butter and the drastic decrease in aroma. As many of you know, in late 2012, I believe it was, maybe a little later, we brought on some outside consultants to look at our brand and do some things. And as a result of that, we broadened our our selection and product, including Caramel Bliss. We've worked on a frozen drink program, which we were told was an important piece, and now we're with Icy. So I think the two things was we were limited in offerings. We've been able to set the foundation for greatly expanding that, and we're off to a good start on that. And the new butter has also been a very impactful piece of the formula.
Will you be getting any actual proprietor input to the design of the new website before it is all finalized?
We have already received some feedback on that. We've reached out to a few people on an individual basis. But at this point, the website is in its final stages. We are learning how to operate and manipulate it on the back end. So right now, we're tweaking and learning how to manage it ourselves, and we'll be launching it post-haste.
How many franchise locations does Dippin' Dots have, not including vending machines?
Somewhere between 118 and 120.
119.
How many franchise locations?
Those are locations, which lines up to the number of franchisees we have, give or take one or two. We've got several franchisees that have 8 to 10 locations, and we have a majority of our franchisees that have no permanent locations, that may do seasonal, that focus only fair and festival, that focus on distribution up and down the street type business, or special events. So the numbers line up. The one great question is, how many places can I go buy Dippin' Dots today across the country? The number is somewhere between 10 and 12,000.
Very cool. That is a good answer.
The mall I am in has 18 mini melt vending machines. I was told we would not be allowed to sell Dippin' Dots. However, do you have any suggestions? Perhaps a different type of product?
Prepackaged? The scoop product? Or the ice cream product?
Let us know what mall that specifically is, and we'll come back around to you. There's a special place in my heart for these kind of opportunities. So chime back in with the question, and we'll take that one offline.
Are there going to be any opportunities in the future to improve our use of social media? For example, will Dot Popcorn franchisees have any ability to have Facebook pages for their locations in the future? What does Dippin' Dots do in this regard? So great question. And I'll answer it more with my humble opinion first, what I've done in the past, what I've seen work and not work. Facebook, while it is free to set up a personal page and to monitor and send pictures of the grandkiddies and that kind of thing, when you have a Facebook page that is branded, if you will, and used for commercial purposes, there's a lot of responsibility to doing that. Simply giving out Facebook pages to franchisees, proprietors, what have you, without a very strict guideline and oversight is fraught with peril and could actually do more harm than good. Personally, I'm in favor of a robust program where franchisees can target local opportunities for you. And we are working on that at Dippin' Dots today. But the biggest barrier to that, quite frankly, is money. It takes people, bodies, time, energy to work through that program, ensure that what goes out there is appropriate, to ensure that accounts that are being left unmanaged, someone is monitoring them. That is something that sometimes an ad fund will pay for, and we are working through some of these processes on the Dippin' Dots side as we speak. This will be a long-term project, certainly nothing that is short-term. All right, next question. Just want to acknowledge that the question came in. It's not appropriate to read it, the details out. It's having to do with the office here, and we will contact you directly and make sure you get what you need. And I think that's the last question. unless we get a flurry of more email or questions in, which happens often. Okay, well, I will give this just a couple, I'll give it one more minute to see if any other questions come in. If no other questions come in, thanks to everyone for taking time out of your busy Wednesday to meet with Garth, Steve, and I. And if any other questions come up, please contact us directly.
Yeah, where's the fastballs at today, guys?
Oh, we got a thank you.
You're welcome.
I like thank yous. We got a thank you, a yay, and an excellent. Whew, we're on a roll. I'm surprised when you get like a party on, Garth. All right, I think that's it. No other questions have come in. So I hope everybody has an amazing rest of the day and fabulous rest of the week. And we will be in touch. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today.